So today we're going to be having a look at, by popular demand, because whenever I do get multiple requests for a product unboxing, I do say that, or I try to. This is the BitPhoenix Shinobi, which is a more value-oriented case from BitPhoenix. They do have other cases, including their Colossus, which is a very high-end case. But this is more meant to target those mainstream gamer type folks. So this one, it's available in two versions. There's a window version, and then there's a non-window version. We have the non-window version. There's actually a diagram here showing you what it looks like with the windowed side panel versus what it looks like without a windowed side panel. I should hope you all know what a non-windowed side panel looks like at this point in time though. We've got maximum expansion, okay, that's what they have to say for themselves. BitPhoenix soft touch surface treatment, which is actually pretty cool. I have seen it in person before. Efficient cooling, tool-free design for the window version only. That's interesting. And okay, let's open this thing up and see what it has to show for itself. So this is a brand new case here I got. Breaking all the seals, because that's what I do. I break seals. Like, I don't club seals. I just break them. Ha ha ha. Not funny because I'm from Canada, I know. Okay. Let's dump this guy out and see what we can see. I wonder if I've actually made that joke before about seals. I mean, I've done so many of these videos at this point that it's hard to keep track of what I've said and haven't said and what I can and cannot say. So, you know, just kind of roll with it. And if I make the same joke twice, well then, hopefully you guys will forgive me. And I don't have a subscriber rebellion on my hands or anything like that. So there it is. That is the Shinobi. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do that 360-degree rotation thing again, which is something that I never do, but this case is fortunately reasonably light and doesn't have super grippy rubber feet on the bottom. In fact, let's find out what it does have on the bottom, because I'm curious now. Oh, look at that. So just metal punch-outs on the bottom. So it might move around a little bit, but I mean, honestly, once you load this up with a system, it should have some more weight to it. It's only light right now because it's a bare case. So let's look at external features first, why don't we? So the first thing we got here at the front is 3 5¼ inch bays. Nice little brushed metal BitPhoenix logo there. And we've got some ventilation holes down both sides. Actually, we've got ventilation holes down both sides and all up the top, and then finally we have what looks like a dual 120mm vent also on the top. We've got 4 USB 2.0 ports, headphone and microphone ports, as well as power and reset. And this is that soft touch feel finish that I was talking about before. This is kind of a how can I describe it? It feels kind of like a rubber that's not sticky. So like if rubber had a bit of a powder on it, so that it doesn't stick as you move your hand across it, okay? On the side panels themselves, we've just got your standard powder-coated, painted metal finish, and this screw is difficult to remove. I will need a screwdriver. Sorry about that, guys. Got that taken care of now. So these are thumb screws here. So they're probably only tight because they're put in at the factory. If you put them in by hand every time, then you'll be able to remove them by hand every time. So we can call that toolless, although BitPhoenix doesn't even claim that the non-windowed version, which this clearly is because there's no window, clearly. Well, that is to say that it would be clear if there was a window on the left side panel. So, we've got the case opened up. Let's do the back first, why not? Here we've got our 3 5¼ inch bays. I can see here that the toolless mechanisms are removed from the 3½ inch bays, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, outstanding. 8 3½ inch hard drive cages, which are toolless on the windowed version and not toolless on this one. And then we can also see a CPU cutout at the back of the motherboard tray. That's for installing large, bulky CPU heatsinks without taking the motherboard out, installing a backplate, putting the motherboard back in, and then installing the heatsink. You can just do it through the back. We've got some cable routing holes, and we've also got adequate space between the right side panel and these cable routing holes here. So you're going to be able to actually run a 24-pin cable out to the side of the motherboard and an 8-pin cable up to the top. You'll probably have to route it through here without any clearance issues at the back. So let's actually here, speaking of the back, let's look at the back of the case where we have a 120 millimeter cooling fan. We've got our I/O port, we've got 8 expansion slots, a couple of these water cooling holes, although these are very, very small. These are probably only going to accept thin-walled 3/8 tubing or thick-walled 1/4 inch tubing. We've got our power supply mounting here, and that is a bottom-mounted power supply with a couple of things that are exceptional about it, one of which is that it is filtered. So there's a filter right here which can be quite easily removed. Also, we've got 4 little rubber mounts here which will keep the power supply raised off the bottom of your case a little bit to ensure that it is able to suck in some fresh air without any difficulty no matter which way you mount it. We've also got a 120 millimeter fan intake here, which isn't going to be able to pull in a ton of air through that mesh, that filter, and then finally the fact that the case isn't that far off the ground, but it will provide some additional intake air for your graphics card area. Although I would say that's probably a very optional fan to install because right here at the front of the case, we've got 2 120 mil fan mounts as well. So that's going to take care of most of the cooling needs for anything that is behind them. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can remove this without too much difficulty. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. Either way, here. You can see the removable fan filters here at the front. Okay, you can see where you can, oh, this is neat. So you can actually install a 3 and a, oh, that's an interesting way to do that. It's not damaged at all. Hey, we win. Yep, we're good. So you can see here that we can use this as a 3.5 inch front drive bay installer if we want to. See, that's got the soft touch finish on it. And then you can do 2 more 5.25 without any difficulty whatsoever. All right, I'm just going to put that away for now anyway. And we do have clearance at the front for those 120 millimeter fans, so those go on the inside here. Next, we've got our internal cables, which are all black. Love to see this, even though the case isn't windowed. It has a full black interior, including black cables, black connectors on the ends of things, and that is awesome. So we've just got our front panels for your power, your reset, all that good stuff. 2 front USB cables and a front audio cable. I think that pretty much wraps it up at this point in time, doesn't it? I don't see any kind of a dedicated 2.5 inch drive mount, although correct me if I am wrong about that. Oh, one thing I haven't mentioned though is the fan mounting options for the top. So you can see that we can either do dual 120 millimeter fans or dual 140 millimeter fans in the top. So this case, in spite of the fact that it looks very clean, I mean, remember, once we put the front panel back on, which hopefully is easier to put on than it was to remove, there we go. Once we put the front panel on, it actually looks very clean and very sharp, but we can install 2 140 millimeter fans. We can do 1, 2, 3, 4 120 millimeter fans in this fairly modest little case. So thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the BitFenix Shinobi. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.